At this time, we will call the building board meeting to order. Please take the roll.
Baylor,
Here.
Holman,
Here.
Klibowitz,
Here.
Sardina.
Here.
Any persons desiring to be heard by the building board? Same as last time. Okay. That would be none. Consideration of the minutes from January 21st.
I'll make a motion to approve January 21st minutes. I'll second that motion.
Okay, that's Tom. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's see. All right, on to new business. Our first one. So we have 3 occupancy permits. The first one is for Ben's Metal Products located at 4983 North 124th.
Yes, this business has been in the village for a couple years now. Came to our attention that they did not obtain their occupancy permit when they moved in there. It was prior to that, there was Bow Search. They then moved across town to a different place in Butler. They moved in, Ben's Metal Products did. They do sheet metal fabrication, powder coating, assembly, warehousing, machinery, and grinding. They currently operate 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. and have 10 to 13 employees at this location at any one time. They do have private fire protection in the building for what they're doing, and we have not had any type of issues with the business since they have been here roughly in 2020, 2021.
So has the fire department done inspections there already?
It is my belief, yes, that they have done their semi-annual inspections.
So they've been there 2 years and we didn't know. That's unsettling.
Yeah, I think that we knew that the business was there, but back, in a couple years ago, they probably, my guess is that they moved in and it wasn't caught at that time.
Yeah. And then did they have paid double the fee then, since they were already in?
I did not force them to do that because they were unaware of, at least they indicated to me that they were unaware of it. And they took care of it right away as soon as I sent them an email. I did have to follow up once, but then he came in right away and submitted everything, paid for everything. So I was trying to be as understanding as I can to.
With that said, you're saying they were unaware that they should have a occupancy permit. I don't understand how that is, but what can we do moving forward that people are aware? You have to have a permit for a business to be run out of Butler.
I think that the first thing that would need to happen, again, this could be a discussion that happens in the item at the end of the agenda.
Perfect.
But I think that I have a couple ideas.
All right, thank you.
I think we definitely will entertain that idea at that point then. So, all right, is there a motion on letter A?
I guess at this point, I'll make a motion to approve the occupancy permit for Ben's Metal Products at 4983 North 124th.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Letter B, occupancy for Eric's Lawn Care, and the address, to correct the address there, it's at 5220 North 126th Street.
Thank you. So
when the minutes come in, that'll reflect that.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So this business, I notified the business owner who is here today in the audience. They emailed me letting me know that they took over this location. They changed their water billing address to take over the water bill. I notified them that they need to fill out the occupancy permit application, and they did. This business provides lawn care and fertilization, snow removal equipment, and supplies are also located at this address. I did have an email out to the fire department with regards to the fertilizer. They did respond back to me stating that they spoke with the business owner and the fire chief is okay with them having fertilizer, with it being in bags and kept away from flammable liquids. The occupant said that they would have 6 pallets of fertilizer at a time. The bags are 50 pounds, and the pallet count, or the bags per pallet, will be roughly 45 bags. And they were not 100% sure if it was going to be granulated phosphorus or what type of fertilizer would be, but they didn't mention anything with regards to liquid fertilizer. They assumed that it was going to just be dumped in a spreader and walked behind, and they did not believe that they were going to be mixing on location.
Who's here? Okay, we don't have the thing set up here. Eh?
Oh. My bad, sorry.
Can you step up and answer a couple questions real quick then? Sure. Did you have fertilizer before you moved in here, or is this a new thing you're added to?
No, we don't have 6 at a time. We have 6, we just buy it at the beginning of the year and then we just use it as we go through the year because it's cheaper.
Right.
No, but wait a minute. Before you moved in here, did you have fertilizer then too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So same thing, just different building.
Yeah, and we're only moving from 5252 to 5220. So we're only going 20 feet to the south.
And how long were you at the other address?
10 years, 12 years.
That was my only question about the fertilizer.
Nothing liquid? You're not, you
No,
guys
what
don't, you
we
guys
buy
don't spray liquid?
Goes in the trailer and then it's just used as we get it. We don't have any bulk. It's under 5 gallons.
Oh, okay, so you don't have,
No,
Tank sprayers.
there's no mixing. We don't do any of the mixing stuff.
okay.
Snow removal, salt storage at all, or?
No, just
No?
a few bags.
Okay, just minimal.
Yeah, we don't have any bulk salt.
Other questions? If not, a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the occupancy permit for Eric's Lawn Care at 5220
Yes.
North 126th Street.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Good to go. Thank you for
you.
coming.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Letter C is the occupancy permit for USA Medical Surplus at 4562 North 127.
Yes, so if you remember back last year, we had Mr. Austin Hamill come before the board for a conditional use permit to have this business being run out of his house. The board at the time declined that conditional use permit, and it did end up going to the Board of Zoning Appeals, which also declined it. So Mr. Hamill did follow through with the board's motion at the time to give him till the end of the year to find a commercial or manufacturing space to house his business. So he did find a spot, and after talking with the property owner, he did come in and apply for his occupancy permit application. I did have a couple extra questions for Mr. Hamill. He is in the audience today, and I did include that with the packet. I just had questions on how big the space was that he was occupying, how many deliveries he was going to be having per day, and what he is doing with the distribution and packaging of the materials is allowed under the current zoning code, which he will be doing wholesale distribution of over-the-counter pharmaceutical, medical devices.
So this was the one where buys diabetic equipment
Correct.
and then resells?
Correct.
Is the business up and running now?
Yeah, it is.
How long have you been in there?
Could you come stand up here, please?
Yes. Roughly, about a month or two.
Okay.
Yep.
Did
Is
you
it-
apply for the occupancy permit right after you moved in there then, or?
Yep.
Okay, because it's 2 months.
I honestly don't know.
He applied on 1/13/2025.
Okay, so a little less than a month
Yeah.
for the
yeah, about a
application,
month.
okay.
Nothing's changed. It's just it's the same business. You're not, you didn't add anything now that you're in a bigger space or,
We got our websites like up and running, so
yeah, I understand that, but you're not doing other materials, other medical, just the original business plan, if you will, that you presented to us.
yep.
No retail out of there?
No.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the occupancy permit for USA Medical Supply at 4562 North 127th.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I think you're good to go.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have a sign permit for USA Medical at 4562 127th.
Yes, so this sign is currently on, was erected on the building. The sign is going to be about 2 square feet. It's a relatively small plastic sign that is fastened to the building, accompanying the business that we just approved for the occupancy.
And it's already up.
Correct.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the sign permit for USA Medical at 4562 North 127th.
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now you're all set. All right. The third item is the review and discussion on the updated occupancy permit application.
So in the packet, I provided the updated occupancy permit application that Aaron put together last week. As you can see, it is much different than the one that we currently have. It asks for a lot more information. There's things such as the hazardous materials that they're storing, parking spots that they're going to need, traffic, needs and traffic patterns that they're going to be having. A lot more information on there, and I can hand it over to Eric. Not Eric. I'm sorry, you're Eric. Aaron, if you would like to, if you have any questions specifically about how we came up with the permit, but we did take about 5 or 6 different municipalities' occupancy permits and kind of added and meshed and kind of took some of the language from ours and put it in there. So if you have questions regarding that application, I was just hoping to have a discussion on that and kind of the process we saw with that. If you wanted to add anything, take out anything from the permit.
I didn't see anything I wanted to add or take out from my own reading. I like that it's a little more comprehensive, but I didn't think it was too much. It's just, these things do need review and updating. And just how old was this, who knows when this was updated last, I'm sure it's been quite a while. I appreciate that you went and looked at other municipalities as well to see what they're doing. So that's good.
And we are going to be, the next step, once we get this kind of approved, is immediately the new permit would go into effect. And then we would, Aaron and I are going to be looking at the occupancy permit ordinance itself to see what we can do to make it clearer, make it more succinct, kind of lay out more of a detailed, almost like a description of what needs to happen, and just updating the language and whatnot.
So that would all then coincide with how the wording on this then,
Correct.
and make sure that works together. Okay, so you don't need a motion on this, just
a review and discussion, and to bring up what we had talked about before. I believe that if the board would like this to happen, we can identify particularly the multi-tenant buildings. That seems where we're running into the biggest problems, is the multi-tenant buildings. Because there's going to be a number of occupancy permits that are going to be coming down the pipeline from businesses that are already in these buildings. I know of at least probably close to 8 that are going to be coming over the next couple weeks that we've been in contact with. But sending letters out to the owners of these buildings and making it known that this needs to happen, and you should be checking the ones that you have in there right now. You should be asking them for their occupancy permit, because we give out hard copies of occupancy permits to each one of the tenants once they've completed their inspections. And if they don't have that, they really need to have contact the village. And going forward, that we're not going to be really settling for that, because we need to know what's going on.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of an ongoing, Eric alluded to it earlier. We can talk about it in a little bit more in depth later, but that, these people moving in and then we find out way after the fact, it's a little frustrating because you're backpedaling.
It's
just
just,
the right way to do things, but
it's like the sign that's put on the building already.
That
Right, I
happens
mean-
like the majority of the time, it seems.
So, I mean, we have to get something set in place, checks and balances, right? There's ordinances and there's rules. When you break rules, there's consequences. And right now, there really isn't any consequences that I can see. Right? And that's a little frustrating to try to make
Well,
things better.
Any consequence would come with code then, correct? So it has to be in the code
Yep.
for us to enforce something.
So I mean, we need to look into it, right? And
For the
businesses
most
that have
part,
been
aren't we
running for
charging them a double fee?
So the way that village administration has been approaching it is if we notify them that they don't have that permit and they address it promptly, I have not doubled it just because I want to basically my goal is compliance over using a stick at this point. If they don't come in after that first warning, then I say, okay, now we're going to increase the fees. And after that, if they don't respond, then I issue them citations for the variance. But to me, how I've approached it recently has been getting them to come in, applying for the permit, getting the permit, versus if you all of a sudden say, okay, now we're going to charge you $420. Again, they need to obviously comply, but I feel like they're much more willing to come in more promptly at that point.
Okay, as far as the sign, what can we do? Tell them to take it down and then
Correct.
have them apply and then they can put it back up,
Correct.
The fines being doubled and stuff, that's on the applicant though, correct?
That the applicant would pay the fee,
Okay,
correct?
So the building owner is not telling them,
The building owner is responsible for that, where it would be a citation, if it came to this, to citations, it would be the building owner and the tenant would be responsible for that. The actual permit application normally comes from the
tenant,
tenant.
So then again, we can, I think, a little bit deeper dive is appropriate at the last item on the village board, because we'll be talking about code and some things like that. So
on what Aaron's put together, which is great. I mean, I really like what he's put together. I did have one question. Well, I had a couple, but we talked about it earlier about somewhere in here saying once you put in your permit, you have so long to get inspections, and because we've been seeing more and more of people moving in the minute they leave here and never get inspections. So, I don't know, we talked about it, something we'll have to look into. But my other question was the question of, will any firearms present on the property? I don't understand it.
Well, the intent is to kind of capture both the presence of firearms as far as operations, as well as any type of sale. So if somebody's bringing firearms just for their own security, the thought would be our police department would like to know that, but.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that I agree with us knowing if someone's got a weapon to protect themselves. If they're doing it legally, I don't know how we have authority to ask people if they're carrying a gun, if they have a permit or anything like that. It's more of a police issue. Chief, can you? So I mean, I just don't, I think we should look into that, because I don't know that that's, I think we can ask, are you manufacturing firearms? Are you selling firearms? But not if you have firearms on the property. I don't know that we have any jurisdiction on someone having a firearm on a property that they own and or lease for protection.
Okay. We can definitely make that change.
Well, I'm not saying I'd like to just, have us look into it to make sure that we're not overstepping
right,
Right.
someone
Is it-
else's rights.
Is it within our rights to do that?
right, we have authority to do that. Yeah. So we can just verify that first, and then before you go further with this, let's just make sure we're all on the same page
Is
regarding
it
that one.
unconstitutional?
Well, that's,
I think, I mean, to be honest, I think that asking a question isn't necessarily a constitutional issue.
Well, so we'll find out.
Correct.
We'll just look into it and find out. Other than that, does anybody have anything else for input on that policy if they wrote up?
no.
Okay. Then we're ready to ADJ.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, right at 6.
Thanks, Reed.
Sure.
Hey, have some for me too.